Hey guys, welcome back to Brownble. It's almost Valentine's Day, so we are cooking up a delicious, scrumptious batch of banana date cinnamon rolls. Let's get started. The problem with traditional cinnamon rolls is that they take a really long time to make and lots of different steps. But we're cutting those in half today. We're making it super quick so that you can make them the morning of and have them warm and gooey and chewy, ready to serve. The trick for making really quick cinnamon rolls in the morning is to use rapid, quick, or instant yeast. This is not baking soda or baking powder, but baker's yeast, and we use the instant or rapid type so that it really grows fast. And we're also using a bigger quantity than you normally would to help that accelerate the process too. So you'll need some non-dairy milk. I'm using soy milk. Use your favorite, and you need to warm it up in the microwave or in the stovetop until it is lukewarm. So think of a lukewarm bath. We're going to add some sugar. Yeast loves sugar. It's going to help it grow. That was evaporated cane sugar, but use what you have on hand. And now our beautiful rapid instant yeast. And you're going to see how that's going to start growing. So we're going to whisk and let that sit for 5 minutes until it's growing, and you're going to see what it looks like in a second. While our yeast is growing, we are going to assemble our filling. For that, we're using some dates. These are pitted dates. And I'm going to use a food processor just to speed things up. But you can cut these by hand. Just make sure you have a very fine mince. Let's pulse this until it's really, really small. Let's add some sugar. I'm using evaporated cane sugar. And of course, we need lots of cinnamon. We're going to pulse this again to get it all combined and kind of powdery. Next, we are going to mash 1.5 bananas, and this is going to be our egg replacer for this recipe, and it's also going to prevent us using too much butter in the dough. I have some all-purpose flour in a bowl here. We're going to add a little bit of sugar because this is a sweet dough. And of course, we always need some salt. Let's whisk that together. And now we're going to add all of our liquid ingredients. We're going to add a little bit of melted non-dairy butter. You can also use coconut oil. We're going to add those beautiful mashed bananas we mashed earlier. And of course, the most important part, our beautiful yeast, which has been growing in that milk. Take a look at how that is now. Make sure you get all of that in there. This is what's going to make them puff up and grow. What you want is this firm dough, but still very, very sticky. And what we're going to do is add a little more flour and get our hands in there and just kind of knead it slightly, just to incorporate everything together. We're going to spread out our dough. So what you'll need is some parchment paper, and we're going to brush it with a little bit of a neutral tasting oil. And we're also going to add some flour, and that's going to help us roll our beautiful dough and prevent it from sticking to the board. You'll need a little more flour just to keep things from sticking, also on your hands and on a rolling pin. This is going to help us spread it out into a rectangle, which is what we want. So just start moving it, and this is sticky, it's going to be messy. Once you have your beautiful rectangle, let's brush it with a little bit of non-dairy butter. This is going to allow that cinnamon, sugar, the date mixture to really stick to the dough. You want to reserve some of that non-dairy butter for brushing the top of your cinnamon rolls too. Here we have our beautiful date, cinnamon, and sugar mixture, and we're just going to add that all across the top there. You can add a little bit of extra sugar and cinnamon to cover any of those little empty spaces. Now we are going to roll them. Now this takes a little patience because it's such a sticky dough, but it'll happen, I promise. It's good to have a little pastry cutter or a knife with some flour next to you, just in case you need to push and scrape it off of the paper. So let's just start rolling like you would roll a sushi roll, and just make sure to roll it as tightly as you can. If you see that it's really too stuffed, you can add a little more flour, and that's going to help you along a lot. Let's cut into slices, and you're going to place them in an oven-proof baking dish lined with some parchment paper. And you're going to place them cut side up. The first one is always a little bit messier. Let's see how the others come along. Now that looks great. Let's brush with the remaining non-dairy butter, and you're gonna cover this tray with plastic wrap and place it in a warm place in your kitchen and let it rise for 30 minutes, and then we're gonna pop them in a 350-degree oven. You can go ahead and preheat that now. Look at how beautiful and golden brown these are. We're gonna set them aside, let them cool slightly. You definitely want to eat these warm, but we wanna let them cool because we're gonna create our beautiful icing, and the icing will melt too fast if it's hot out of the oven. So let's set them aside, and we're gonna assemble our icing. The icing for these couldn't be any easier. All we need is some powdered sugar. We're gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract, and you can just eyeball that. It's just a little drizzle. And we're gonna add some non-dairy milk. I have some soy milk in here, but we only need a tiny bit. So I'm gonna start with 1 and 2 tablespoons approximately, and we're gonna start whisking. You can add more, but you can't take any away. So we always like to do that slowly. What you want is this rich consistency, kind of like a rich condensed milk. You can just pour it on there, but I'm going to use this little squeeze bottle because you can have those beautiful lines. And just make sure that all of them are nicely coated, and I like to reserve a little bit for serving right at the table. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you make these at home. Show us your pictures using the hashtag Brownble. Don't forget to serve these nice and warm. They look so delicious. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.